CBTandME video. So today what we're going to be looking at is our values. And values are a big part in a therapy called acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT. So what we're going to be doing today is understanding a bit about what values are, and we're also going to be doing a values assessment. And the idea with a values assessment is that we're going to be helping you to recognize what are your top values, what is the most important things for you. So what would be helpful for you as you're doing this session is to make sure you have a pen and paper. You want a big piece of paper, ideally like an A4 that you can write on. Or you could do what I've done behind me, and you want 3 pieces of paper. It's your choice, big piece or 3 pieces like this. I will explain why we're doing that when we get more into it, but I would recommend that you have that ready for the session. Okay, so what is a value? I'm going to read this quote out. It is from someone called Russ Harris, who has written a really good book called The Happiness Trap, and it is based on the principles of acceptance and commitment therapy. And what Russ says is that your values are reflections on what is most important in your heart, what sort of person you want to be, and what is significant and meaningful for you in life, and what you want to stand for in this life. Your values provide direction for your life, and they motivate you to make important changes. So values are what you find most important, what are the most meaningful and significant things for you in life. And there's a big difference between values and goals. Goals can sometimes be things that you set to help you work towards your values. But the thing is with goals is that they're things that we can tick off and then we've done them. So for example, you might have a goal to lose weight, or you may have a goal to learn a new language. You may have a goal to pass an exam. And once you've kind of done that thing or met that goal, you've ticked it off. Yeah. But values are things that we can never have enough of. So I'll give you a value example. For me, one of my values is adventure. And I could never get enough of adventure. It's not like I can go to a country and be like, yeah, well, I've done that now. No, there's always more things to explore. There's always more countries to visit. But you can also meet your value in more than one way. So obviously during the pandemic, I wasn't doing a lot of traveling abroad, but I'm the kind of person that might like to try the strange foods in the supermarket, or if you go to a restaurant, I'll always get something that I've never had before. I like to try things that are new and explore them and adventure. So values are lifelong things that we might want to sort of be focusing on throughout our life in order to have a meaningful life. And I think values there's no right or wrong with values. So I gave you an example of one of my values, but everyone is different and there is no right or wrong, okay? Whatever your values are today, they're correct because that's what's important to you and that's what matters. So our values are about what's meaningful and important to us in life. And just to mention that your values can change as well. So the values that I had when I was a teenager or a university student might be very different to the values that I hold now as an adult working in the NHS. Equally, some values may always stay the same in our life. I've always been a very adventurous person. That may be a value that I have for the rest of my life. Who knows? It also may change, and that's okay. Just to read another quote from Russ Harris that I really like. A value is a direction that we desire to keep moving in. It's an ongoing process that never reaches an end. So like I said, you can never get enough of your value. You're always wanting more. You're wanting to live by these things because they're meaningful and important to you. And equally, I would say that values are very important in terms of maybe adapting things in life. So I just gave you an example of my value adventure. Well, let's pretend that I'm in a horrible accident and, maybe I lose function of my body. I can have adventure in many different ways in my life. It might be that, I am at home and maybe I can't travel as much, but like I said, I could try different foods, I could learn about different cultures. I can always be adventuring the world around me in so many different ways. There's not just one way to meet your value. If my value was fitness and then I have a change in my physical health, again, there's many ways for me to meet that value. It might be that I help teach fitness to others. It might be that I engage in fitness in very different ways. But the point is that I can still engage in a life that is meaningful and valuable to me, even if there are changes in my circumstances. So it's really important that we are able to recognize our values, because our values help to anchor us. When we're feeling lost in life or confused, or when we're feeling empty, maybe something really hard and horrible has happened and it just feels like the world is crumbling down around us, our values are a real anchor, because our values show us what's meaningful and important to us. And no matter what's happening in my circumstances, I can still try and live a life towards my values. Let's pretend I lose my job, my home catches on fire, and I don't know, someone dies in the fire, and it literally feels like my whole world has crumbled. Let's face it, sometimes really horrible things happen in a world like that. So even though, my circumstances have completely changed and I might feel really lost and I might feel so unsure about my future, what I can be sure about is what's still important to me in life. And although the way I engage in what's important with me may change, the point is that I still know what my values are and can learn to adjust and find new ways of working and having a life that's important to me and working with my values. So if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling confused, if you're feeling like you're not in touch with yourself and what you like or who you are, if you feel like you can't picture a future, your values can kind of act as that internal compass. They can guide you and they can help you make decisions so that you can live a life according to what's important to you. And that's a good way to start, living by your values. We can't just live our lives by just one value. We're complex human beings. We have many wants, we have many needs, and we have lots of things that we find important. And that does require a balance. So what we're going to be looking at today are what are our top values. Also, sometimes that value can balance in our values, sorry, can go a little bit askew. So sometimes it's good to consider what other things are important to you, what other things you value, to get that balance right again. If you're neglecting certain things in your area and holding one value too tightly at the cost of other things, which we'll go more into as we carry on. Anyway, I think it's time that we should start doing our values assessment. So what I want you to do on your piece of paper or pieces of paper is I want you to put 3 headings. So I hope you can read this, but this one says very important to me. These are going to be the values that you write down on this list that are very important to you. They're really hot. They're the most important things for you. You're really passionate about them. And just to mention, it's not things that maybe you're good at, or maybe you don't even have these things right now. That doesn't matter. It's about what's important to you, whether it means something to you, whether it matters to you. It's not about whether you're good at it or whether you are getting it right now. Okay. This second pile is called important to me. So they're not, very important stream ones, but they are things that are fairly important to you. They matter to you. And this last one, this last header, I want you to write, not very important to me, not important to me. They're not relevant, they're not applicable, or, they're kind of neutral. You're not, you're not that fussed by them, okay? So I want you to write these 3 headers on your page, and you need to have enough space to write down your values. We're going to go through a set of about 50 values. So you're going to need to have enough space to write a nice long list of things here, okay? So very important to me, and not important to me. And what we're going to be achieving by doing this values assessment is you're going to be writing down what things stand out the most to you, what things aren't relevant and don't really, mean much to you. And that's going to help you to, first of all, recognize what your values are. Once we've recognized what our values are and we've gone through this assessment, then we'll be talking at the end about how you can live a more value-based life, a more value-driven life, getting you to reflect on how you can engage with the things that's most important to you. And that's why this assessment is so important. So, there's a lot of cards we're going to go through, but it is worthwhile. It's a very helpful process. So I'm going to pick up my cards. And like I said, values aren't goals. Values aren't just one activity. So these values are kind of words. So the first one is acceptance, okay? So being open and accepting yourself, accepting other people, and accepting life. This is a value, okay? So what I want you to do is have a think about how important is acceptance to me in life. Okay, for some of you, it might be very important to accept yourself. It might be very important to accept other people. It might be really important to accept life. For other people, it might feel important, but it's not, the main, most priority, most passionate thing you ever have in life. And for some of you, it might not be important. And again, there's no right or wrong answers, okay? Just have a think about how important acceptance is for you. And I want you to write it in one of these columns, okay? Put where acceptance is. So is it important, very important, or not important? And again, like I said, it's not whether you're good at acceptance. It's not whether you have acceptance in your life. What we're rating is how important is acceptance to you. And you're going to put that on one of these lists. I am going to go through these cards one by one. But if you need time to think about that value more and really have a think about where it sits on these three lists, then that's okay. Just pause the video, okay? Have as much time as you need to think. Everyone goes at their own pace for a values assessment. And for some people, it takes a really long time. For some people, they're very quick and they can make snap decisions. And, it's a mixture of both at times as well. So it's okay if you need to pause the video at every point, please do. Okay, so that's one value. Please write it down on one of these columns. The next value, I think I've mentioned this one, is adventure. Okay, so this one is to be adventurous, to be adventurous, to actively seek things out, to actively create or explore new experiences. So you're looking for trying things that are new, you're creating new experiences, you're trying to seek them out, okay? So how important is adventure to you? And again, it's not whether you're good at it, it's not if you have it right now, it's how important is this to you in life, okay? And I want you to put it on one of these again. Is it very important, important, or not important? Please pause if you need time to think about it, that's okay. Assertiveness. How important is this to you in life? To respectfully stand up for your rights, respectfully asking what you want. How important is assertiveness to you in life? Put it on one of your lists. Is it very important, important, or not important to you? There's no right or wrong answer. Authenticity. So authenticity is about being authentic. It's about being genuine. It's about being true to yourself. How important is authenticity to you? To be genuine and true to yourself. Again, put it on one of these lists. As a reminder, it's not if you're good at it. It's not if you have it right now. It's how important authenticity is for you. And it doesn't matter if one list starts to look bigger than the others. It doesn't matter. That's absolutely fine. We will reflect on that. So beauty. To appreciate, create, nurture, or cultivate beauty in yourself, in others, and in the environment. How important is beauty to you? So beauty isn't just about looking good. Beauty is, you know, like it says, cultivating things in other people, or even the environment. So beauty could be, you know, gardening and making a really beautiful garden, or appreciating beauty in the natural world. Beauty could be, you know, your appearance and makeup, absolutely, but it means more than just that. So have a think about whether that is important, and again, put it on one of these lists. Where does that go? Caring. How important is this to you? So to be caring towards yourself, but also towards other people and the environment. Okay, where does caring sit? How important is that to you in life? To be caring, to be supportive, to be caring to yourself, the others, and the world around you. And other things too, you know, animals count if you like to care for animals. That could be part of it too. So again, put it on your list. How important is caring to you? Challenge. To keep challenging yourself to grow, to learn and improve. Always enjoying a challenge, pushing yourself further. And again, this could be growing other people as well as yourself. Put on your list where in challenges. How important is challenge to you in life? Compassion. So to act with kindness towards those who are suffering. And again, our values work both ways. So compassionate towards yourself, being compassionate towards others, being compassionate to animals, the world around you. How important is compassion, having compassion in your life? Connection. To engage fully in what you're doing, to be fully present with other people. So connection to the moment, being really present with what you're doing, connecting to other people, connecting closely with others and being fully present with other people. How important is connection to you? Place it on one of your lists. How important is this to you to have connection in your life? That's what we're asking. Conformity. So conformity is all about being respectful, being obedient of rules, and being obedient of those obligations as well. Conformity. Again, there's no right or wrong answer here. For some people, conformity will be really important or not important. Just place it on terms of how much it means to you, how much it matters to you in life. To be respectful, to be obedient, to follow rules and obligations. How important is conformity to you? Cooperation. So being cooperative, oh, cooperating with others, and collaborating with others, working together. How important is cooperation to you in life? And again, it doesn't mean that you have it right now. It doesn't mean you're good at it. We're just putting on the lists. How important is this to me? Don't forget, please pause the video at any time. If you need more time to think about this, please do. I appreciate some of these will give you, you know, a lot of thought. You might need to think about how important it is before you put it down. I am not going to pause after each one because I think that would be a boring video. So I want you to click pause when you need to. Courage is the next one. So being courageous, being brave, persisting in the face of fear, in the face of threat, or being persistent in the face of difficulty. Courage. How important is this to you? Put it on your list. It's going to go on one of them. It doesn't matter where, it's just how important it is to you. Creativity. So being creative, being innovative, making things or thinking in new ways, brainstorming. How important is creativity for you, being creative in life? Next, we have curiosity. So being curious, being open-minded, being interested in things, and to explore and discover. How important is it to you to be curious in life? Encouragement. How important is it to you to encourage and reward behaviour that you value in yourself or in other people? How important is encouragement to you in life? Equality. Treating others as equal to yourself, treating yourself as equal to other people as well. How important is it to you to have equality in life? How much does that mean to you? Where does it go on these lists? Okay, excitement. So to seek out, to create, or to engage in activities that are exciting, stimulating, and thrilling. How important is it to you to have excitement in your life? Whack it on one of those lists. It's okay to have a think about it first. Sometimes there will be some that you just automatically know the answer. Aha! Some of them it may be, no, this is definitely not important. And some of them, like, you'll instantly know, like, yes, this is so in my very important list. And some of them will just take a lot of time to think, and that is also perfectly fine. It's part of the process to just put them down wherever it feels right. Fairness. So being fair to yourself, but again, values work both ways. Also being fair to other people. How important is that to you? Fitness. So to maintain or to improve your fitness, to look after your physical and mental health and your well-being. So it's not just about physical fitness, it's also your mental health and your well-being. How important is fitness to you in life? And again, it doesn't mean that we are fit. It doesn't mean that we have fitness in our lives at the moment. It doesn't mean that we're good at it. It's just how important is that to us? Flexibility. So flexibility is about adjusting and adapting and being able to sort of adapt readily to quite challenging or changing situations. Being able to be flexible and not rigid. How important is that to you in life? Freedom. So to live freely, to choose how you live, to choose how you behave, to help others to do the same as well, to help others to live freely. How important is freedom to you in life? Put it on your list and decide how important is that to me. Friendliness. So friendliness is about being friendly. It's about being companionable. It's about being agreeable to other people, being friendly. How important is that? Again, put it on your list. Everyone's different. Everyone's answers will be different. This isn't a test where we copy and cheat. This is just for you to reflect for yourself how important. And what about forgiveness? Being forgiven towards yourself as well as being forgiven towards other people. Okay, forgiveness. And again, it's not whether you have it, whether you're good at it, it's how important forgiveness is to you in life. Put that on one of your boxes, one of your lists even. Mine are kind of boxes. Fun. So to be fun-loving, to seek, to create, and to engage in fun-filled activities, whatever that might mean for you. How important is fun for you in your life? Generosity. How important is it for you to be generous, to be sharing, to be giving, and being generous towards yourself as well as other people? How important is generosity to you in life? Gratitude. How important is it for you to be grateful, to appreciate the positive aspects of yourself, to be grateful about other people and appreciate the positive aspects of life. How important is gratitude for you? Honesty. How important is it for you to be honest, to be truthful, and to be sincere? Being honest with yourself as well as to other people. It works both ways. How important is that to you? Humour. So to see and also to appreciate just the humorous side in life, to laugh at things, to not take things so seriously. How important is humour? Humility. So to be humble or to be modest, to let your achievements speak for themselves. So not needing to sort of brag about things, being humble. How important is that? Pop it on your list. Industry. So industry is all about being industrious. So to be hardworking, to be dedicated. How important is industry to you? It might not mean working in an industry, okay? It's just about being hardworking and dedicated in whatever form that means. Again, put it on your list. How important is industry to you? Independence. Being self-supportive, choosing your own way of doing things, making your own decisions, relying on yourself, supporting yourself. How important is independence to you? Intimacy. So to open up, to reveal, to share yourself emotionally in close relationships. How important is intimacy and being open with other people? Kindness. So kindness is about being kind, being compassionate, being considerate, being nurturing, and being caring. And again, towards yourself as well as to other people. How important is kindness to you in life? Place it on a list. Knowledge seeking. So to seek out knowledge and information, to be interested in learning new things. And again, like I said, our values never run out, do they? So you can never gain too much knowledge. How important is it for you to be seeking out knowledge and learning new things? Put that on one of your lists. Love. So love is about acting lovingly, acting affectionately towards other people, but also towards yourself again. How important is this for you in life? Love. Mindfulness. So I'm sure we've all heard a bit about mindfulness. It's everywhere nowadays. But in this sense, we're talking about being aware of, being open to, and being curious about your here and now experiences. Being open to the here and now, being curious about your experience, and being aware of your experience in the present moment, in the here and now. Mindfulness. How important is it for you to be mindful in life and to engage in mindfulness? Order. So being orderly, being organized, having things sorted. How important is it for you to have order in your life? Oh. Open-mindedness. So thinking things through, seeing things from other people's point of view, weighing evidence fairly, and being open-minded to hear new ideas, try new perspectives. How important is it for you to be open-minded? Patience. So patience is about waiting calmly and waiting kindly for what you want. How important is it for you to have patience in life? Put it on your list. Persistence. So continuing with that determination, despite problems or difficulties that arrive in life, persistence to keep going persistently. How important is being persistent for you in life? Pleasure. So in this sense, we're talking about creating as well as giving pleasurable things to yourself or to other people as well. How important is it for you to experience and create and give pleasure? Respect. So again, it works both ways. Respect is a two-way street. So being respectful towards yourself and other people, being polite, being considerate, and showing positive regard to yourself and others. How important is respect to you in life? See, some of them take a lot of thinking, and that's okay. Responsibility. So being responsible, being accountable for your own actions. How important is it for you to have responsibility in life? Again, please feel free to pause if you need to think about these things. It does take some thought sometimes. Romance. So to be romantic, to display as well as expressing love, or to display or express strong affection. And again, romance, it doesn't mean you have to be dating at the moment or in a relationship. It's not about whether you're good at it. It's about whether it's important to you or not. How important is romance for you? Safety. So to secure, to protect, to ensure the safety of yourself as well as other people, and sometimes other things as well. How important is it for you to have safety in your life? Put it on one of your lists. My pack is feeling thinner, and we're on the S's in the alphabet to give you an idea of how many more we have. So self-awareness. Being aware of your own thoughts, being aware of your own feelings, and being aware of your own actions. How important is it for you to be self-aware in life? Pause the video if you need to, have a think, and put it on one of your lists. Justice. So upholding justice, upholding fairness in life. Again, for yourself, for others, for the world. How important is justice to you? Put it on one of your importance lists. Is it very important? Is it important? Is it not important? Have a think. Self-care. So looking after your health, looking after your well-being, and getting your needs met as well. Taking care of yourself. How important is self-care to you in your life? Self-development. So to keep growing, to keep advancing, to keep improving your knowledge, to keep improving your skills, improving your character, improving your life experiences. How important is self-development for you, developing on yourself? Self-control. Acting in accordance with your own ideals. Having control over yourself, acting in accordance to what you would like to act like. Being able to control yourself so that you can be in line with how you want to behave. Self-control. Sensuality. So sensuality is all about being sensual, okay? So it's about creating, exploring, and enjoying things that stimulate those five senses, yeah? So experiences that stimulate touch and smell, sound, feel, taste. How important is it for you to be in touch with your senses in life? Da-da-da. Dropping them. Sexuality. How important is it for you to explore and express and engage in your sexuality? And again, it doesn't mean that you necessarily even have a sex life at the moment. It doesn't mean you feel good or bad about it. It's about how important it is for you. And again, sexuality can be with other people, but it can also be with yourself, exploring and expressing it. So how important is that for you in life? Put it on one of your lists. Spirituality. So connecting with things that are bigger than yourself. And again, we may view spirituality in many different ways, and whatever way you view this word is fine. But we're going to rate how important it is to you. So have a think, is it very important, important, or not important? Put it on one of your lists. Skillfulness. So skillfulness is about practicing and improving on your skills. It's about applying yourself fully when you're using your skills, to have skills, to use skills, to grow your skills, to practice your skills. How important is skillfulness for you? And again, skills in whatever fields skillfulness is important to you in. Where would that be on your lists? But coming towards the end, you're doing really well. Supportiveness. So being supportive, being helpful, being encouraging, and being available to yourself as well as other people. Supporting yourself, supporting others. How important is supportiveness for you in life? Trust. So being trustworthy, to be loyal, to be faithful, to be sincere, and to be reliable. How important is it for you to have trust and provide trust for yourself, trusting yourself and trusting others, and vice versa, them trusting you or you trusting you? How important is it for you to have trust in your life? Put it on one of your lists. I'm sure they're getting very full at this point, and that's perfectly fine. We're coming to an end. Now, the next two, the last two, are blank. They're intentionally blank. You've got some really big lists with your values, but again, there might be something that you feel was missing from that value list. So if there's something else that you feel, this is a value, this is really important to me in life, put it on one of these pieces of paper, put it on one of your lists, that's okay. So what you should have now is you should have some very big looking lists, and everyone's lists will look very different, and that's absolutely fine. There's no right or wrong to this exercise. So you might have a really big not important list, or you may have a really small not important list. Whatever is fine. You may have a really big or small important list, and you may have a really big or small very important list. That is absolutely fine. But I just want you to spend a minute just looking at your lists. What have you learned from doing the values exercise? Were there any things that maybe surprised you? Were there any things that you didn't realize how important it was to you? Were there any things that you found really difficult to think about how important this is for me right now? Equally, I think sometimes people find the value sorting exercise quite hard, because often a lot of what comes up is, I don't have this right now, or I'm not good at this at the moment. And that's why I kept saying it's about how important it is to you, regardless of how good or how much of it you have right now. Because equally, sometimes doing a values assessment makes us realize this is really important to me, but I don't have much of this in my life right now. And if that's the case, that's also okay. Again, we've identified that now, we've noticed it. The next step is, what do you do about that, which we'll talk about in a moment. But just have a look at your lists, and in particular, have a look at this one, the very important list. So no matter how big or small that very important list is, just have a look at what that list is showing you about yourself and what you find very important and very meaningful. There might be certain themes that you notice too. I'll give you an example. There are cards on kindness, compassion, and caring. And again, they all kind of have a similar flavour theme, don't they? So there might be some groups that you find in your very important list, and that's also fine. That's, I guess, quite a reflection in itself. What themes are you noticing in that list? So again, some people like to pause the video right now and they like to just reflect on what they've got on their lists and have a think about what that means about them as a person. What does that show you about what's important to you? It's a really good thing to just spend some time thinking about. So feel free to pause if you want to. Again, I'm going to continue with the video, but you can unpause at any time and carry on. So what we're going to be focusing on now is our very important to you list, okay? And this is quite a hard task for some people, and that's okay if you find it difficult. But what I'm going to ask you to do is pick out your top 5 very important values. You may have a really, really big list, and that may take some time to work out which ones am I going to pick out as my top 5. And that's okay. You might want to pause the tape and pick out your top 5. For some of you, you may only have one or none even in that list. And if that's the case, you may want to look at the second one, the important to me list, and pick up your top 5. But I want you to write down what are your top 5 values. And again, they're your top 5 values now. It's okay if they used to be different in the past. It's okay if they might change in the future. But what we're looking at is what are your top 5 things that are your values? What are the most valuable, important, significant, and meaningful things to you in life? Okay, and I want you to really spend some time making sure that you're happy with that. And once you know what those top 5 are, please do write them down or take a picture on your phone of what those values are. And from those top 5, is there a number 1? That is also worth having a reflect on. What is your number 1 value out of the whole big 50 list that I gave you? What is your number 1 value? What's the most important thing for you in life? And again, write that one down. What you can do is what I've done here. Write down your top 5 values. Write down your number 1 value. And secondly, values I want to develop or focus more on, or have more in my life, or add in my life. Are there any values that you want more of? Maybe you don't feel they're developed right now. Maybe you don't feel like you're meeting those right now. Maybe you don't feel you're getting enough of those values in your life right now. They are important to you. They're very important, but you don't feel you're getting enough of them. And just make note of that. If there's a few values, try and pick up 2 at the max of values that you really want more of in your life. And we'll be having a think about how you can get a bit more of that in your life. Maybe there's already things that are coming to your mind. How can I get more of this value in my life? How can I live my life by doing more of that, or getting more of that, or meeting that need in some way? Ideas come to your mind. What I also want you to have a think about is, are there any values that you're holding on to too tightly in life? Because our values are important to us. But if our values are too important to us, then they can be like this, like right in front of our faces. And if we hold them too tightly, then we can't see anything else in life. We can't see the other values on the table. We can't really see much even around that value that we're holding too tightly. What is that doing to the rest of our values? What is that doing to living a balanced life with multiple values? If we hold one value too tightly, what is the cost of that? What does that do to living a rich, a full, and a meaningful life if we hold one value too tightly? What other values are you neglecting if you hold it too tightly? Again, make a note of anything that you're holding on to too tightly to the detriment of living a life through all of your values, not just one. And you can write that down too. Maybe there's one or two values that you want to jot down. I'm holding this one and this one too tightly. I just want to share a Russ Harris quote. I really like this quote actually. Hold your values lightly. Hold your values lightly in life, but pursue them vigorously. So I think what he means by that is we don't want to hold our values so tightly we can't see anything else. We want to be flexible with our values. We want to have them. This value is over here. It's on my lap. But I can still see everything else. I can still live my life and see all my other values as well. I can see this one and I can see those ones too. I think that's what he means. We're going to hold our values lightly and flexibly, but we still want to pursue them vigorously. We want to live a life where the most meaningful things to us are part of our life. That's my interpretation of his quote. You may have a different one, and that's okay. Another thing that Russ Harris says is that true success in life is living by your values. If you died tomorrow, but you spent a whole lifetime living by your values, living by the things that mean the most to you, they're the most important, they're the most meaningful things, that's a successful life because you have lived a life that is meaningful, valuable, and important to you. If you die at, I don't know, 90 years old, what would you want your gravestone to say? I would probably want mine to say, Molly has lived a very adventurous life. She has tried all these different things and explored these different cultures and tried all these different foods and had all these new experiences. That's what I would probably want mine to say, because adventure is one of my values. There are many more. And again, I don't want to hold that value too tightly either. I want to engage in my other values as well. That would be a successful life for me though, because that is me living my life doing the things that is most important and valuable to me. And that's why he's saying true success is living by your values. And I would add to that the reason, things like mindfulness, Buddhist monks coming up with sort of philosophies and therapies like acceptance and commitment therapy exist is because life is full of pain and suffering. It is. It's inevitable and it's true. You buy a lovely new puppy that you've always wanted. I love animals. But again, that even a good thing like that is full of pain and suffering. What about when the dog poos on your carpet or runs out the gate and you're anxious, or destroys your new pair of shoes and you're angry, or you're disgusted at the mess it's made, the poo on the couch? They give us so many more emotions, don't they? But again, if having a puppy is something that you value and is important and it's part of one of your values in life, living a rich, full, and meaningful life means experiencing the richness of emotions. So the joy, the love, the entertainment that the puppy brings, but also the richness of emotions, the disgust, the anger, the anxiety, the sadness when the puppy dies. Living a value-filled life means that we live life despite it being pain and suffering and difficult at times. But we can live a life for our values regardless of how much pain we're in, or how, distressed or emotional or upset we're feeling. I would rather be upset and live a life with adventure in it than be upset and live a life without adventure. My values are important to me, regardless of how painful and difficult life can be. So you've thought about your top 5 values. You've had a think about even your number 1 value, hopefully. You've had a think about what values you want more of in life, what values you want to develop and focus more on. And you may have also noticed a value that maybe you're holding on a bit too tightly to. Maybe you're holding it on and focusing on it too much and too rigidly, to the expense of maybe other values. What I would suggest you also have a think, and maybe you want to write down, how are you already connecting to your values in life? What are you already doing that gets you close to these things that are so valuable and important to you? Because there will be things you're already doing. Again, like I said, when it was the pandemic and lockdown, I was trying new food. I was exploring places. I couldn't go abroad, but I was, exploring the world around me. I was going for new walks in my local area. Just because one avenue closed didn't mean that I wasn't still living my life connecting to my values. So have a think about, how are you already living your life, connecting to these top values that you've identified? And again, if you want to pause and write down some thoughts there to reflect, that's a fantastic use of your time as far as I'm concerned. Another quote by Russ Harris. I'm giving you all the quotes today. Values describe what you do and how you want to do it, how you want to behave towards your friends, your family, and neighbours, how you want to behave towards your body, your environment, your work, and other areas of your life. Values describe how you want to behave, how you want to do, how you want to do it. So I mentioned earlier, now that you know your values, it's a really good idea to think about how you want to live by them, right? How you want to have more of them in your life and connect to them. So I'm going to show you a little picture. Again, if you want another piece of paper, draw this out. That might be helpful. I've got a box here of different areas in your life. So this one here is work. This one here is education / training / learning. This one here is relationships. We're talking here about, I guess, romantic or sexual relationships with a partner or partners. Parenting. Family. So this is family, not including your partner or your children, because we've already done them. Friends. Recreation / fun / leisure / hobbies. Spirituality / faith. And lastly, physical self-care. So this is things like, diet, exercise, sleep. Okay, so what I want you to do is jot down these life areas. And then I want you, on the next column, to have a think about how you could engage in your values in this life area. What kind of person would you want to be in that life area? What would you be doing or saying if you were consistent with your values? How would you be acting in that area of your life if you were connecting to your values? So let's look at the first one, so work. So how would you be engaging in your top values in the workplace? What would you be doing as an employee if you were living for your values? What kind of employee would you be if you were living for your values? What would you be doing at work? What would you be saying at work? And how would you be acting at work if you were connecting to your values? Maybe you don't have a job at the moment. Maybe you don't know what job you want to do, or maybe you're currently searching for jobs. Again, I guess in that sense, what kind of jobs would be in line with your values might be a good way to think, and have a think about what you want to do as well. Look at your value list. What would be in line with that? If those values are the most meaningful and important and significant things for you in life, then how would it be to have a job that is in line with some of those values? Now, bear in mind, we get paid to work, and work can be difficult and stressful. That's why we get paid for it. So, work will have its difficulties, as life has its difficulties. But how could you be consistent with your values despite maybe a challenging work environment? The second one, education/training. Again, how would you engage in your values in an educational place? Maybe you go to school or university or college. Maybe you're doing some extra training courses. Maybe you're doing something like learning a new language, learning a new hobby or skill, or taking an evening class. That counts in this category. Or maybe you're wanting to pursue further learning, but you don't know where to start. Again, how could you engage in your values? Maybe that would shape what courses you take. Maybe it's about the way you learn, or what kind of student you are, or how you learn. What kind of person do you want to be as you're learning, as you're in education or training? And again, feel free to pause, feel free to write down anything that you want that would be important when considering how you could live and connect through your values in education. The next one is relationship, your romantic or sexual relationship or relationships with either a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a fiance, a wife, a spouse, a husband, whatever. What kind of partner would you want to be? Have a think about your values again. How do they inform you? What kind of partner do you want to be? What would you be doing in that relationship? What would you be saying in that relationship if you were living according to your values? If you're single, it might be, again, thinking about your values. What kind of relationship would you ever want to be in accordance to your values? If you are having difficulties in your relationship, how would you like to manage those values? How would you like to manage those difficulties whilst living and connecting to your values? Next, we have parenting. So again, what kind of parent would you want to be? If you are a parent yet, how can you raise your children in a way that's consistent to your values? If you don't have kids yet but want them, what kind of parent would you like to be in the future? If you don't want children, or you can't have children, again, parenting can be really difficult, and it can have a lot of loss and difficulties there. But it might be, I guess, what kind of parent would you like to be to other people as well? Maybe you foster, maybe you adopt, maybe you take care of, I don't know, your friend's child, for example. You're still part of the parenting. So if you are a parent or have any desire to be, reflecting on what kind of parent do you want to be? How would you like to act as a parent in accordance to those values, in accordance to what is most meaningful and important to you? Because surely if it's meaningful and important to you, then that's the way you would want to raise your children. And the next one is family. So like we said, this isn't your children now, this isn't your partner. We've done those aspects. We're talking about your wider family, maybe your uncles, your aunts, your siblings, your grandparents, your cousins. Again, what kind of family member would you want to be in accordance with your values? How would you want to speak to your family? What would you want to do with your family? How would you spend time with your family? That's in a way consistent with your values. And again, family can bring stress and dramas and difficulties. We know that. How would you like to go through and engage in your family with your values despite those difficulties? Friends, again, what kind of family, what kind of friends do you want to be? And if you're wanting to find new friends or grow your friendship group, what kind of people would you want to be friends with? And what kind of friend would you want to be? What would you like to do for others, say for others? How would you like to connect to other people? What do your values tell you about friendships, and what kind of friend, what kind of social life you'd like to engage in? The next one is recreation, leisure, fun, the pleasure, the rest and relaxation, the downtime category. So again, I guess I think this box is quite helpful sometimes. You may have identified for your values that there are maybe activities that you'd like to do that are in line with your values. Maybe you haven't ever had the chance to do them yet. Maybe there's new things you want to try. Maybe there's hobbies or activities or goals that you want to pursue that are in line with your values. Maybe you want to connect more to your values through finding new activities that meet them, or making more time to have pleasure so that you can have more time to live and do your values. But like we said, values comes in all the other areas of your life too. It's not just about fun. Spirituality and faith. Again, how can you connect to what you believe in through your values? What kind of person would you want to be, depending on what religion, what beliefs, what spirituality, what faith you hold? How would you connect to your spirituality or your faith through your values? So as an example, what kind of Muslim, what kind of Christian do you want to be? What kind of Hindu or Sikh? How would you like to connect to the world in a spiritual way through your values? You don't have to be religious to have some type of faith, some type of belief, some type of spirituality. Equally, it's okay if you are very agnostic or non-spiritual. That's also fine. But again, even that, how could you be agnostic or non-spiritual whilst connecting with your values? I guess it's about engaging with your belief system, whatever it is. And the last one, physical self-care. So things like your sleep, your diet, your exercise. How can you engage in those things through your values? So again, mine is adventure. So, I might need to do physical self-care so that I'm well enough to have adventures, right? Or some of my adventures may include things like diet, or maybe I'm exercising and climbing a mountain as part of my adventure, or I'm trying a new hobby or a new sport as part of adventure. How could you engage in your physical self-care in a way that's in line with your values? And also, how can your physical self-care help you to engage in your values? Are there things you need to do for yourself? Are there things you need to take care of in yourself so that you can have a valuable and meaningful life and you can live by your values? So have a think about those areas of your life. What kind of person do you want to be? How do you want to act? What would you be doing? What would you be saying in those life areas if you were living by your values? That is a really important reflection because it helps you to recognize how your values can come through into your life in these sort of everyday life areas. So well worth pausing, well worth filling in those things, having a bit of a reflect in whatever way. You don't have to write it down if you hate writing. You might want to just think about these things. So today we have identified our values. We've talked around recognizing our top values, trying to hold our values loosely and flexibly so we can engage in all our values. We've talked a little bit about connecting through values in our life areas. My last final questions and the last just note that I'm going to leave you on, do have a think about how you can connect more to your values even this week. Even if you have a really busy week, or maybe you've got nothing booked in your week at all, I don't know. What could you do this week that connects you more to those values that you've identified? What values could you focus on or could engage in further or enhance? What new things could you try? What old things would you like to do more of again that you maybe neglected that would get you back in touch with your values? Even if they're small activities, yeah? So I'll give you an example, the value caring. Maybe you make someone a cup of tea. It doesn't have to be a big life-changing event, but that's you living your life through your values, isn't it? You're doing something caring by making someone a cup of tea. How can you be consistent with your values in the everyday? And lastly, I would like to just come back to that point that I made about values working both ways. So things like kindness and compassion working both ways for other people and yourself. I do find I see a lot of patients that may have these long lists: kindness, compassion, fairness, respect, open-mindedness, honesty. They're very good at doing it to other people, the kindness, the caring, the compassion, whatever that value is that they've written down, but not always so good at doing it both ways to themselves as well. So have a think about how your values can be both ways, acting in that value for yourself as well as for other people. Sometimes there's one that we neglect a little bit. So how could you make that balance a little bit more even? And also, I guess if it was to be more even, would that maybe help you to live your life by that value in a more fuller way? I'm sure you've all heard the quote, you can't care for other people unless you care for yourself and take care of your own needs. But actually it's true, isn't it? If you're caring for yourself, you're in a much better place to care for other people. So living your value, caring for yourself, helps you to live your value, caring for others. So it's worth thinking about making that value both ways. It may enhance, again, both ways. So I hope you found this helpful. I hope it was a useful reflection for you. If you found this interesting, I would recommend, have a read up on acceptance and commitment therapy. That book I mentioned, The Happiness Trap, it's by someone called Russ Harris. He's the person I've been reading his quotes out throughout this video. It's well worth a read. I think it's a really useful read. It's an easy read as well. There's nothing, complicated or sciencey in it. But it is all about acceptance and commitment therapy, living your life through your values, despite life's pain and suffering as well. So it's a very useful read. But I do hope you found today helpful. I hope it's helped you to recognise maybe some of your values, some of the things that you find important. And I really would urge you to go away and reflect on how you can live a life consistent with your values, how you can engage in those values you've recognised today, and have a more meaningful, rich, full life. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening. Bye.